The world's great novels. The NBC University of the Air presents the second installment of a four-part radio edition of Arnold Bennett's masterpiece of fiction, The Old Wives' Tale. Another in the series of books that live. The world's great novels.
The time, the 1860s. The place, the little town of Bursley in England. The widow Baines had two daughters, Sophia and Constance. Sophia ran away to London to marry a man whom Mrs. Baines considered a profligate. And Constance married their apprentice, the youngish Mr. Povey, whom Mrs. Baines considered beneath the family socially. Thereupon Mrs. Baines said,
"My life is over."
It was, though she was scarcely 50. She relinquished the sovereignty of her draper's shop to Constance and the youngish Mr. Povey, and went to live the rest of her days with her sister in a neighboring town. Constance guessed little of the secret anguish of that departure. She only knew that it was just like her mother, having perfectly arranged the house for the arrival of the honeymoon couple, to flit early away so as to spare the natural blushing diffidence of the said couple. Even in the parlor, the black box of silver plate still lay, and not a tassel of an antimacassar was touched. Constance had expected her mother to take some of the things, but no, nothing. Assuredly, her mother was one to do things handsomely when she did them. On the morning after their return, Constance and her husband, Mr. Povey, she was to call him Sam, had just finished breakfast as Constance rang the bell for Maggie, the Baines' lifelong servant.
A very good breakfast. And now for the revolution.
Revolution?
Yes. We are going to have a signboard for the shop.
A signboard?
Yes. I'm the proprietor now.
But, Sam, have you forgotten what Father always used to say?
Forgotten? Why, my dear, I have only to close my eyes to hear him shouting it.
There is nothing I despise worse than puffing. Never forget that, Povey. Uninformed persons who wish to find my shop must ask and learn. To put a sign up is to participate in the modern craze for unscrupulous self-advertisement. And I call it vulgar puffing.
But he was wrong, my dear. I'm going to have a sign 35 feet long with gold letters 3 feet high on a green background.
But what will Mother say?
Oh, well, she'll get used to it. And now I'll step down to the shop.
Well, don't get so interested in the letters that you forget to have tea with me.
I won't. Hey, good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, sir. You rung for me, Mum?
Yes, Maggie. You may clear the table now.
If you please, Mrs. Powell,
Yes. What is it?
will you please accept of this piece of folded paper and read it?
Why, of course. I beg to give 1 month's notice to leave. Signed Maggie Johnson, 8. Why, Maggie?
I never give notice before, Mrs. Selby, so I don't know as how it ought to be done, not rightly, but I hope as you'll accept of it, Mrs. Selby.
Yes, but why, Maggie?
Well, Mrs. Selby, I've been a-thinking it over in my kitchen, and I said to myself, if there's going to be one chance, there'd better be two, I says.
But what are you thinking of doing, Maggie? You know you won't get many places like this.
To tell you the truth, Mrs. Selby, I'm going to get married myself.
Indeed.
Oh, but I am, Mum. It's all settled. Mr. Rollins, Mum.
Not Hollins, the fish hawker.
Yes, Mum. He seems to fancy me.
But he's the man who used to say...
As thou makest his wooden felt lard.
Yes.
But now he's learned better.
I'm sure I hope you'll be happy, Maggie. But what if his habit is drinking?
Oh, he won't have no habits with me, Mrs. Playfair.
So the sign was erected, and a little later Maggie left, and the honeymoon was over, and Constance felt that she had entered the real beginning of her wifehood. But let us skip lightly over their first 7 years of marriage, only pausing to touch upon the 3 historical high water marks which stood out above all others.
Sam, what have you got?
A little fox terrier. Paid £2 for her.
But Sam, no dog has ever put paws into this house.
Yes, but just look at her, Constance. She's a beauty. And she's just as affectionate as a kitten. Here, take and hold her.
Oh, you precious thing. Merry Christmas, Mother.
And to you, my chuck. Well, you're stouter. If you aren't careful, you will be as big as any of us.
Oh, Mother. Did you sleep well?
Oh, yes. What are you doing, Pet?
Opening Christmas cards. They were just delivered. Over 30.
Well,
Oh, Mother.
what is it, my chuck?
It's from Sophia. After all these years. It was Paris.
Open it, child. Read it.
I do hope this will reach you on Christmas morning.
And it has done.
Fondest love, Sophia. No return of her.
Oh, Sophia.
Next birthday.
40? What? Then I'll be 27 next
Yes?
year.
Yes, that's right.
But not a real 27, Sam. And your 40 won't be a real 40. I mean, not like other people's 27s and 40s.
No? Why not?
Because, well, oh, Sam,
You mean... are you sure?
oh, there's no doubt about it.
Well, I'm dashed. Well, we've gone and done it. Wait till Cousin Daniel hears of this.
We have not mentioned Mr. Povey's celebrated cousin, Daniel Povey, the confectioner and baker whose shop was nearby. Everyone liked Daniel Povey. He was a tall, handsome man with a graying beard, a jolly smile, and a frank interest in certain aspects of life which, though essential to the divine purpose, are not openly recognized as such. As a matter of fact, not long before, Mr. Povey had asked his elder cousin's advice concerning a certain matter, and receiving it, admitted to himself that he had lived to the age of 40 in a state of comparative boobyism. And now suddenly the baby, they named it Cyril. Was Constance happy? Well, of course, the naive ecstasies of her girlhood had long since departed. And the vast, inherent melancholy of the universe had not exempted her. But Sam had made a good, loyal, dependable husband. Now, with a child, a deep sea of content filled her mind. Cyril became the pivot of the house. Every desire ended somewhere in Cyril. The years passed quickly. Cyril reached the advanced age of 13, and his parents, who, despite their notion of themselves as wide-awake parents, were a simple pair, never suspected that his heart, conceived to be still pure, had become a crawling, horrible mass of corruption. And then one day, the headmaster at Cyril's school called at the shop.
Of course, it's nothing. But my experience is that it's just as well to be on the safe side. And I thought I'd tell you. Forewarned is forearmed. Mm-hmm. I have other parents to see about this. So, goodbye, Mr. Povey.
Goodbye, sir.
Nothing occurred for several days. And then one morning, it was Constance's birthday. Children are nearly always unlucky in their choice of days for sin. Mr. Povey, having executed mysterious movements in the shop after Cyril's departure to school, suddenly ran forth in pursuit and brought Cyril back. As they entered the parlor, Constance looked up astonished.
Why, what?
Take your satchel off, Cyril. And your hat.
Yes, sir. Whatever the need.
You'll see presently. Cyril, what money have you got in your pocket? You heard what I said?
I've got 3 halfpence.
Where did you get that from?
It's part of what Mother gave me. I did give him a pleasant bit last week. It was a long time since he had had any money.
If you gave it him, that's enough. That's all you've got, Cyril?
Yes, Father.
You're sure?
Yes, Father.
Empty your pockets, then.
But, Father,
Empty them! Here, your knife, whistle, 3 halfpence, handkerchief.
Oh, Cyril, how often have I told you to change your handkerchief oftener? Just look at this.
There it is. There it is, a florin.
Oh, Cyril.
Please look at it, Mother, and tell me if there is a cross marked on it.
Yes, there's something on it.
I thought so. Where did you steal it from?
From the shop, out of the till.
Have you ever stolen anything out of the till before? Yes, what?
Yes, Father.
Take your hands out of your pockets and stand up straight if you can. How often?
I don't know, Father. Sam, there's some mistake.
Wait, Mother, wait. How have you been spending this money?
Sweets.
Anything else?
Sweets and things.
Oh. And how do you explain this pipe and tobacco pouch and this half-empty packet of cigarettes I found in your bedroom, eh? So, you are a liar and a thief, to say nothing of smoking. I wonder your mother never smelt you.
I never dreamt of such.
Neither did I until Cyril's headmaster spoke to me. What disturbed him was finding costly pipes and cigar holders. In his opinion, the articles came from one single source. From a generous thief. Didn't believe it until I marked every silver coin in the till for 3 nights and found one missing this morning. And on your mother's birthday. How dared you?
You never gave me any money.
Well, you had only to ask. Now get away to bed. That's where you belong today.
Yes, Father.
And as for your taking drawing lessons at night at the School of Art, you may dismiss the idea absolutely. I wouldn't trust your absence from home in the evenings. Mother, he's to have nothing today but bread and water.
That was the first crime. There was to be a far more serious one, though Cyril was not to be the criminal. One night, about 6 months after the tragedy of the Marsh coin, Mr. Povey was awakened by a hand on his shoulder. In the thick gloom, he saw Cyril standing in his nightshirt by the bed.
Oh, what are you doing now?
I didn't want to wake Mother up, but there's someone been throwing pebbles at our windows for a long time.
Pebbles. Pebbles?
Hear that, Father? And on my window, too.
I'll get up. I'm going to open the window. You'd better get back to your room, son.
You'll tell me in the morning, won't you, Father?
Yes, yes. And shut your door quietly.
Yes, Father.
Who's down there? Who is it?
That you, Simmons?
Yes, yes. Your cousin Daniel?
I want you.
I'll be done in a minute. Where are you, Daniel?
Right over here.
What's the matter? Anything wrong?
Step along with me and I'll show you, Simmons.
Yes, sir. Now just close the door here. What time is it?
1:15. Look here, Simmons. You know as my wife drinks.
No, that is, no one ever said.
She drinks, and has done this last 2 years.
I'm very sorry to hear it.
And if that was the worst.
But what's wrong? What does all this mean at after 1 o'clock in the morning?
Look here, Samuel. I went to Liverpool Corn Market today. Missed the last train back. So I came by mail from Crewe. And what do I find? I find my son Dick sitting on the stairs in the dark, pretty nigh naked.
But Daniel...
Hold on, please. He's been in bed a couple of days with a feverish cold. Caught through lying in damp sheets as his mother had forgot her hair. Tonight she brings him no supper. He calls out. No answer. Then he gets up to go downstairs, falls, and breaks his knee or something. Sat there hours, seemingly. Couldn't walk neither up nor down.
And was your wife, was Mrs. Povey?
Dead drunk in the parlor, Samuel.
And what have you done?
Done? Why, I picked him up in my arms and carried him upstairs again. And a fine job I had, too. Why, he's a man grown. Here we are. Step right in.
Thank you, Daniel.
Hark. That's Dick.
Oh, he's in pain. Haven't you fetched the doctor?
Not yet.
Why, say, Daniel, this is really ridiculous. Why on earth didn't you fetch the doctor while you were waiting for me? And where's the missus?
Happen you'd better go and have a look at her.
Yeah.
She's here in the parlor. Go in. Go in. Now then, I'll just turn up the gas. See ya?
Yes, over there on the sofa.
Yes. Mrs. Daniel Povey. Look at her. Her face discolored. Her eyes bulging. Her mouth wet and yawning. The wife and mother. The lady of the house. She's vile, Samuel, vile.
But Daniel,
Examine her closely. Look at her dirty yellow-gray hair. Her skinny, grimy neck and her befouled dress. For 30 years it has taken all my pride to suffer that woman. I remember when, years after our marriage, she was still as pretty and coquettish as a young chippy with a fool at her feet. But time and the slow wrath of God has changed her.
But Daniel, she's dead.
Yes, Samuel, lad. I killed her. I took and shook her. I got her by the neck, and before I knew where I was, I done it. Aye. Mark you, she'll never drink brandy again.
Daniel Povey was taken to Stafford jail. From thenceforward, Samuel had a mission, religious in its solemn intensity, to defend and save Daniel. He spent the whole of himself upon it, to the neglect of his business and the scorn of his health. He became Daniel's defending angel, rescuing Daniel from Daniel's own weakness and apathy. He became indeed Daniel. It was winter. On the day of the trial, in spite of an appalling cough, Mr. Povey prepared to set out for the court in Stafford.
Wait, Sam. Your muffler. You'll need it. Cyril, run upstairs and get Father's muffler. You know the drawer.
Yes, Mother.
No, I haven't time. I don't need any muffler, thank you.
Oh, but Sam.
No, please don't hurry me up. I've got quite enough. Good morning, Critchlow.
Morning, Povey.
I'll be home tonight, dear.
Yes. And, Sam, do keep bundles up.
Just setting out for the trial, eh?
Yes. Do you think the trial will last long, Mr. Critchlow?
Not it.
Oh, I do hope everything will be all right.
Everything will be all right. Only it'll be all wrong for Dan.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Critchlow?
Well, I've met with some rare good arguments and no mistakes. Some will say that Dan never meant to do it. That's as maybe. But if it's a good reason for not hanging him, there's an end to capital punishment in England. Never meant.
There's a lot of 'em as never met. Then I'm told that she was a gallivanting woman and no housekeeper, and as often drunk as sober. But if strangling is the right punishment for a wife who spends her time drinking brandy instead of sweeping floors and airing sheets, then Dan's safe. But I don't seem to see Judge Lindley telling the jury as it is.
I'm surprised at you, Mr. Critchlow. Mr. Colby wouldn't agree.
That may be. But when I seen him just now launch off on his wild goose chase, I thought, another fool in the making. And your son seems to favor him, fiddling with art. Well, the generations follow one another. Top of the morning to you, Mrs. Pope.
The hours passed, and the winter sun was setting in calm and gorgeous melancholy on the Thursday hush of the town. It was one of those afternoons which gather up all the sadness of the moving earth and transform it into beauty. And then the sound of a carriage, and Constance sprang up. Yes, it was Samuel. She beheld him once more, and the sight of his condition, moral and physical, terrified her.
To be hanged by the neck until dead.
Oh, Sam, you're feverish.
There's a pain in my side.
Cyril, go across and ask Dr. Harp to come round at once.
Oh, what's the matter?
Do as I say, please.
Yes, Mother.
Now, Father, let me help you upstairs. You must go to bed.
Yes, Mother. Hanged by the neck until dead. Hanged by the neck.
She helped him climb the stairs, and she thought,
will he ever come down these stairs again?
he never did. It was acute double pneumonia that Samuel had got. And his death was not 1/10 the resounding stir as that of Daniel. But then Samuel had killed nobody. Destiny had taken hold of him, and he had displayed the vein of greatness which runs through every soul without exception. For he had embraced a cause, lost it, and died of it. His death was an amputation for Constance, but she faced it. And a few months later, Mrs. Baines, her mother, also died. But still, had she not Cyril? Compared to many women, she thought she was indeed fortunate. Her son seemed to grow into manhood and into an artist under her very eyes. It was like a dream.
Surely you aren't thinking of beginning to paint at this time of night. It's nearly 10.
Well, what if it is?
Now, Cyril, I do hope you're going to be a good boy and not cause your mother anxiety.
I do think you might let me finish this. It won't take me long.
How can you possibly choose your colors properly by gaslight?
I'm going to do it in sepia. I say, Mother, you'll just have to let me go to the School of Art after Easter.
You know what your father said. Can't allow you to do it yet.
But, Mother, I'm sure Father would have agreed. If I'm going to take up drawing, I ought to do it at once. That's what the drawing master says. And I suppose he ought to know.
Well, how many evenings a week would you want to go?
Oh, Mother. I suppose you haven't forgotten all about the smock I asked you for, have you, Mater?
You know I haven't, Sue. It's almost finished. Here, look at it.
By Jove, that embroidery is beautiful.
Tomorrow I will start on another.
Another? What for?
You can't manage with one. What will you do when that one has to go to the wash?
Wash? There's no need for it to go to the wash.
Now, Cyril, don't try my patience. I'm going to make you 6 smocks.
Well, Mater, I've got it.
Got what?
The National Art Scholarship.
National Art Scholarship? What's that?
Free residence in London and £1 a week. And, of course, free tuition.
London? For how long?
Well, that depends. They say for a year. But if you behave yourself, it's always continued for 3 years.
But, Cyril, if you stay 3 years, you'll never come back.
Nonsense. You don't seem very chirpy over it, Mater.
Oh, but I am. I'm very proud of your son.
Here you are, sir. Second smoker.
Thank you. Smile, Mater. All right, as soon as ever I get there.
With what grace he raised his hand. The sliding away, clouds of steam, and the empty platform. She walked home very slowly, and she kept thinking to herself,
After all, could I expect the boy to do anything else? Had a brilliant success. And is it to be tied to my apron string? But somehow I'm no longer of any use to anybody. Once I was young and proud. And this is what my life has come to. This is the end.
it was not to be the end. Although she knew it not, there was much in store for her with her sister Sophia, from whom she had not heard since girlhood, except for the one Christmas card. Next week, we will see what has happened to Sophia through all the years of silence.
The Old Wives' Tale by Arnold Bennett is one of the world's great novels, brought to you each week by the NBC University of the Air. Listen next week for the third episode of this four-part dramatization of The Old Wives' Tale, and remember that this and countless other great books are to be had in your local public library. To enhance your enjoyment of these broadcasts, NBC offers you Herbert Gorman's Handbook of the World's Great Novels. Just send 25 cents with your request to World's Great Novels, Post Office Box 30, Station J, New York 27, New York. I'll repeat that address. World's Great Novels, Post Office Box 30, Station J, New York 27. The Old Wives' Tale is adapted for radio by Frederick Schlick. The music was composed by Emil Soderstrom, and the orchestra directed by Bernard Berquist. The entire production was under the direction of Homer Heck. Ken Nordine is the narrator. Constance is played by Nanette Sargent. Mrs. Baines by Hope Summers. Maggie by Lucille Laurel. Sam Povey by Jim Hummeland. Cyril by Arthur Young. Critchlow by Arthur Sedgwick. Mr. Baines by Burr Lee. And Daniel Povey by Arthur Peterson. This is David Garraway. The program came to you from Chicago and has been a presentation of the National Broadcasting Company and its independent, affiliated stations. Sign up for security. Money invested now in United States savings bonds spells future security because it comes back $4 for every 3 in just 10 years. That's government guaranteed. So sign up for the payroll savings.